Welcome, everybody, to another special edition of the Pierce the Canvas podcast. My name is Pierce, as always. Today is March 3rd, 2021, and holy smokes, did we just come off a big Dynamite show. Probably one of the biggest ones I'll be covering. Of course, we're just coming into Revolution this Sunday. This was the go-home show for the pay-per-view. So, of course, we had a lot of big stuff, but stuff that I personally thought I would never see. For example, Shaquille O'Neal had his in-ring debut, which obviously is a big deal, and Tully Blanchard had his first match for the first time in I keep hearing 30 years, but I heard there's like another match he had more recently, but I think it's like his first big televised match in about 30 years. Chris Jericho and MJF had a press conference leading into their match against the Young Bucks. Of course, last week they bloodied up Papa Buck, got him all messed up, so we got to see their response to that. And of course, the biggest thing that I never saw coming is Paul White arriving in AEW for the first time. Paul White, the Big Show, showed up, and I'll just spoil it right off the bat. Unfortunately, we didn't get the long-awaited showdown between Big Show and Shaq. I was really thinking they were going to go for that, but they didn't end up doing so. So we'll probably get it at some point. We'll get into it right now. In fact, that match happened first. They opened the show with Shaq and Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet and Cody. I guess they just wanted to get it right off the bat. Whatever lead-in they had, they wanted to keep hooked. Because anybody's going to stay to watch Shaq wrestle, right? And of course, we got a bit of a recap. We saw Jade breaking Brandy's arm, getting in a scrap with Red Velvet on the waiting room where they're like stiffing each other, going crazy. And this is actually our first time seeing Jade Cargill in the ring as well. So not only is it Shaq's big debut, it's also Jade Cargill's. We got to see her for the first time. So another thing that kind of shocked me is that Shaq actually started the match. Shaq and Cody started and engaged in an collar elbow tie-up. Cody takes chops. Shaq returns the favor. Lands a back body drop. Lands more chops in the corner. You know that since he's Shaq, he's got who knows, a 5-foot hand or like a crazy massive hand just landing these chops on Cody. But you could kind of tell too that he was taking it a little easy. Like he was doing it in a way where he's just going like that. He wasn't laying them in. He was just kind of flapping his arm forward. But anyway, later on we see Jade finally get a tag in, and she's stopping Shaq from going further with chopping Cody for some reason. He's about to chop Cody, and then Jade just tags herself in for some reason. So of course in comes Red Velvet. And as I just said, this is our first time also seeing Jade Cargill wrestle. The very first piece of offense that we got to see from her is some weird kick. I don't even know where it landed. I think the announcer said it landed on Red Velvet's face. I don't even think that was the case. And they kind of exchange a little bit until Jade just dominates and starts throwing her around, showing off her strength. She does push-ups and stuff. Red Velvet goes for a dive. Jade does that roll-out catch where they catch and then roll over and then pick them up. And then Cody at one point trying to get... I guess the heels were getting heat on the baby faces, so Cody ran in and got a running knee and knocked Shaq down off the apron. And for whatever fucking reason, who knows, Austin Gunn takes a steel chair and slams Shaq in the back with the steel chair. No disqualification or anything. Shaq pulls him over the barricade and chops him on the back. Takes somebody. I don't think it was Billy Gunn. It could have been. I don't think I saw who it was, but he body slammed him onto Austin Gunn, and then QT Marshall gets involved, trying to stop the whole thing. Shaq starts choking QT Marshall. Just got crazy, and then out of nowhere, Red Velvet dives onto everyone ringside next to where all this stuff was happening. Jade locked in a figure four, grabbed a table, set it ringside. Red Velvet set another one right next to it. It took a long time for them to set those tables. They were really doing their best, but it did take a while. In fact, I think at one point QT Marshall started helping Red Velvet set up her table, And it looked like he was like telling her to hurry up, like, "Yo, we got limited time. You guys got to get back in the ring." Like, I swear that's what he was saying. So that was honestly like the most sloppy part of this whole thing, I would say. I don't think there's anything else that was like uh, too humiliating or embarrassing to watch. It was kind of like awkward and cringy just watching them set the tables for a year, and it was both of them, both Jade and Red Velvet, setting up their respective tables. It was taking forever, and just to keep in mind, they set them side by side. That will come into play later, of course. Shaq got tagged in, knee lift to Cody, landed a power bomb, and then Cody like does his like Rhodes punch from lying down and actually picks up Shaq and slams him down. Not a crazy Hogan body slam type thing, but still like slammed him down. Went for a pin, but Shaq powered out. Jade got a big spine buster for a near fall. Cody breaks the pin. Cody and Shaq fight on the apron until Cody actually ran and did a like full force cross body to Shaq off the apron through the tables. Shaq took the bump. He took the table spot, and he was just like wearing like a wife beater, like a black wife beater shirt. So it's like he had a lot of protection from, sometimes you get like splinters from those tables and shit. He took it, man. He took it. All 350 pounds or whatever of this guy. Red Velvet did a spear for a near fall. It's actually kind of funny because the cameras were not on her when she did the spear. And it's just like, why does this always happen with spears? Whether it's WWE or AEW, the cameras never catch these spears. They're always missing. But we missed her spear, but it was a near fall anyway. Jade landed her finish, which was the Beth Phoenix, I think, like her finisher. The one where she's like holding her and then slams her, like face plants her. And that got them the win. So Jade Cargill and Shaq win their respective debut matches. And it was also funny because they're getting shots of Shaq like dead, like crashed through the tables. And Jade doesn't really care at all. She's just like in the ring flexing her muscles and everything. But yeah, that was honestly a great showing from Shaq for his first match ever. Really impressed. Like, he looked all right. There's nothing that looked bad, really, to be honest with you. Even when you like body slammed whoever was with Austin Gunn, like he looked great there. Even. So we go to commercial and come back, and it appears we have Shaq is being loaded up into an ambulance. So apparently he's like seriously injured from the Tony spot. But of course, Tony Schiavone comes by the ambulance and is like, "Oh, we got to get a word from somebody, like to figure out what condition Shaq is in." So he manages to open the ambulance door, and it reveals that there's no Shaq. He escaped. So yeah, he's like, I guess his wrestling character, he's like a super monster dude. And yeah, so as I said, a great showing. A lot of people were anticipating like destruction. I wasn't. I don't think this would have happened if they lacked any confidence that they could pull it off. So yeah, it definitely reached my expectations, I would say. And then the next match is Rey Fenix and Pac versus local talent. They didn't even bother like name plating the opponents' names. They said them a couple times. It was like, these guys aren't important. I don't need to write their names down. So Rey Fenix immediately enziguris the illegal man. They both Rey and Pac beat the shit out of the legal man. Rey does his running kick onto the illegal man. Pac does a tope dive on him as well. Pac and Rey do their finish, which was a 450 splash, and Rey did his like cool pile driver where he like knees them in the head first and then spikes them down. And that was that. So, all right, I guess. I think they're gonna be in. There's gonna be a tag team battle royal. As much as I love those, there is gonna be one at Revolution this Sunday, and I'm pretty sure that Pac and Rey Fenix are in it. So I guess they just thought, let's do a match, I guess, whatever. So next up was one of the bigger segments of the night, Chris Jericho and MJF press conference. And again, this comes off the attack from last week on Papa Buck, and they put ketchup all over his face and stuff like that. And of course, this is to also preview Sunday's match. So Dasha is hosting the conference, and all of Inner Circle are in there, except for I think Jake Hager. Yeah, he wasn't there for some reason. So somebody asks his question, like the first question. I don't know who the guy is, and I don't know if it's just me, but I don't think it was just me. I couldn't hear him at all. Like the mic was off because when Jericho responded, I heard everything. So yeah, I guess his mic was off or something. I think he asked what the tag teams mean to them. Jericho says that it's been a year since he lost his world title and he needs to be a champion again. Says that he's a 7-time world tag team champion. Says he tagged with The Rock, Paul White, none compared to MJF. And they say it's time to beat the Young Bucks like they did their dad. And the next person to show up was Conrad Thompson from Grill and JR. I don't think we've seen him on any of these like panel segments before. And and he asks like, what are the odds of bringing Sammy back to the group? MJF calls him turkey tits. Jericho says that he's a fathead. Tells him to go back to Nebraska. So didn't really answer the question. I guess again, Jericho said that Sammy's dead to him, so he didn't even want to acknowledge the question. Barstool Sports asks why they attacked Papa Buck. MJF says that he had it coming after pushing Jericho. What they did last week was an act of self-defense. Says that we should be talking about how he got his blood all over his suit. Says that we can't comprehend how much a custom suit is because he doesn't shop at Target and Baby Gap like the rest of us. And then a Target chant started, which I never heard. Says that we should just wait until they get their hands on Matt and Nick. And then Santana takes the mic and says, do you think it was a good idea to bring your bitch-ass pops here? And it's just, that kind of hit me weird because I thought Santana and Ortiz were kind of indifferent. That was kind of more what their attitude was. Like when Sammy, when they got MJF into the group, they didn't seem like they were against, like they were really the heels of the group. So this was clearly like a heel thing that he just said, like, called his dad a bitch ass. Called the Young Bucks dad a bitch ass. And then guess who showed up but Eric B. from the 83 Weeks podcast. Of course, Eric Bischoff came back. He loves these segments. Asks a two-part question to Jericho. Asks if they know the condition of Papa Buck. In his list of stupid ideas, where does motivating the Young Bucks to vengeance rank? So Jericho says to shut his mouth. They don't know his condition and they don't care. As far as Matt and Nick go, and they're about to say some other stuff, but then the Young Bucks theme song comes on. So Matt and Nick come on out and they... sorry, just give me one sec. Yeah, I don't know if you could hear like music is going on all over. I'm just asking people if they could turn it down. Obviously, I'm running the show. So Nick says that they knew they would try to hurt them. They obviously would anticipate that they'd hurt their friends, but they didn't know that they would attack their family. So that made it personal. Matt says that they have the greatest father. They taught them everything they need to know to make them who they are. They talk about compassion, faith, believed in them. Did all the things Jericho and MJF's fathers failed to do, so took a shot at them there. Taught them to dream big. When he couldn't afford to bring them to college, he built them a ring with his bare hands. Taught them, you gotta bust your ass and do it yourself. And that DIY spirit is what made the Young Bucks, that made the Elite, and that made the whole company of AEW. Without him, there would be no Young Bucks. There wouldn't even be an AEW. And then they start talking about, like, what would it be like for these two guys if it weren't for him, if it weren't for their dad. That means MJF would still be living with his parents, unemployed, and waiting to hear back from Rosie O'Donnell. And then there's a thank you Papa chant. Asks what Jericho would be doing, and they say that he would be jerking the curtain at the Performance Center. So it's like, another shot at WWE. And it's like, that felt low, especially because NXT is supposed to be moving off that night. So it's like, you guys aren't even competing anymore. Like, but okay, we got another WWE shot in there. Of everything that he taught them, he said that he taught them to stand up for themselves. Young Bucks kick Jericho and MJF, do their super kicks, stereo super kicks, and a fight breaks out until referees and officials come out. The Good Brothers bring out a table and set it up at the stage. Nick dives onto the stage, dives on. So Nick dives off of the stage onto Ortiz through the table, and there's another table I didn't even know was set ringside, and Matt runs off the stage and elbow drops Santana through a ringside table. Video package for the exploding barbed wire match follows that. And we see John's promo, Kenny's challenge as well for the exploding barbed wire death match. Says that this hasn't happened in 25 years. We see some dude who I suspect is probably the owner of FMW, I think, because they were previewing like a whole bunch of historical barbed wire matches, and then there's like an Asian man that they cut to an interview of, and again they're showing like footage of FMW, so I suppose that was the owner of that company, and he's basically just selling the match, like talking about like how dangerous it is and so on and so forth. And then we see footage of the construction of the Moxley extermination chamber. We hear Moxley say, that if this is the end of his career, what a way to go. So that really shows the weight of this match. It could be the end of Jon Moxley's career. At least they're selling it as that. So let's just see. Yeah, so next up we have the FTR and Tully Blanchard versus Jurassic Express. This is another match that who knows how this could have went, but I thought it went pretty well, all things considered. So Tully comes out like in his classic black robe. He has his, I think, NWA US title and some dude with him named JJ. I've never heard of this guy. I had to look him up and stuff, so my bad for not knowing this. His name is JJ Dillon, and he was the manager of the Four Horsemen for a while. So Tully and Marco begin the match. Tully gets corner shots in. Jungle Boy runs wild, landing Germans, and locks a snare trap on Dax until Cash forces him out. Jungle Boy locks on Cash. JJ at one point handed his shoe to Dax, and he knocks out Jungle Boy with JJ's shoe. So that was cool. He was like doing the classic heel manager stuff, which I'm sure he was doing back in the 80s. That led to a near fall. Tully was about to do a tope, stops right by the ropes, which was great because, FTR's gimmick is like, we don't do these stupid dives. So they're really teasing that Tully, they even like put down the rope for him. They're teasing that he was going to jump and dive out, but then he stopped. He was like, nah, I ain't going to do that. And then Luchasaurus goes wild after a hot tag, throws Marco stunned at Tully, literally just whips him at him. Gets a double German suplex on Dax and Cash, which was pretty cool. Dax went up top. Jungle Boy Hurricanra'd him down. Luchasaurus caught him and slammed him for a near fall. Cash got swinging DDTs to Luchasaurus ringside. Jungle Boy went up top in the heels corner. FTR is able to land their superplex and dive finish for a near fall. Marco Stunt broke a pin by diving on Cash. Tully lands a slingshot suplex on Marco. That leads to Luchasaurus challenging Tully. And so Tully gets in the ring, and Luchasaurus actually like straight up did his tail whip, like roundhouse kick or whatever, straight onto Tully, knocks him down. Jurassic Express land their finish for a near fall. Jungle Boy went for a dive, knocked into a cameraman in a mask. So they were like really playing it up as if like, oh, what happened? He knocked into a cameraman. And they did a slightly good job. Like, I actually didn't even really know what was going on. Like, if for sure it was like, I don't know, just some botch, or if it was an angle. But then he like goes and straight up attacks Luchasaurus. That distracts Jurassic Express, gives the advantage to FTR and Tully, and they do the spike pile driver finish. Of course, Tully doing the top rope, putting them down for the win. So there you go, Tully Blanchard with his first win in, like, it's got to be at least a decade. Again, I think it was like close to 30 years or so. The mask guy enters the ring, and it's Sean Spears. Whatever, who cares? He's blonde. That's different. Like he just has like a blonde mohawk kind of thing, and it's like, all right, whatever. So yeah, it was kind of cool though. We had like FTR, we had Tully, JJ Dillon, Sean Spears were all in the ring, and then Arn Anderson came out. I guess he couldn't help himself. He had to do it. He came out and did the four signs. You know, he has JJ Dillon and Tully Blanchard there. Dillon threw it right back. Shivani tells us that AEW Dark Elevation is coming, and he like came out while everybody was still in the ring. So clearly this show was packed. They had to get stuff done. Um, so Shivani just went to the next segment, and as he was talking about the new AEW Dark Elevation show, JJ Dillon goes up to him and he's like, "The show ain't gonna be nothing like what you just saw." And Shivani just like told him to go away. He's like, "You're not gonna get paid extra for that." So yeah, Tony introduces the show and says that it'll be a new, what is it? Is it forgot what day it's on. Is it on Monday or so? Yeah, it's on Mondays, I think, which is crazy. That's when Raw is. And he says that his commentating partner will be Paul White. And then you see like no more BS all over the arena, like on the screen, and so I guess that's his new catchphrase, like no more BS. And he comes out and you know, I'm just expecting like he's gonna look different and stuff for some reason, but it's the exact guy from WWE. Um, Paul asks, you know, raise your hand, anybody, if you saw this turn coming, and funny joke. He knew Tony back when he himself had bright hair and a bright future. He's happy to be there. Big Show says it's an honor to be on TNT. Looking forward to working with AEW talent. Talks about the new show where we'll hear amazing commentating and great AEW talent. Says Tony's not the only one who gets the big scoops, though. Paul has a big scoop, and he'll reveal that on Sunday. There's a new signee to AEW. And man, I was just like thinking of anybody it could be in a, you know, realistic or not. It came down to possibly John Cena, because I don't know if he's actually on any deal with WWE. I think he's just on a kind of case by case basis sort of thing. Like he does WrestleManias and stuff. So I don't know. It could be him. It could be Brock Lesnar. Um, there's probably a couple other people I thought of, but I don't know who the hell it could be. Oh, yeah, there was Kurt Angle. It could be Kurt Angle because he's also not signed to WWE. He got released during that 50 talent release day that happened in April or whatever. So those are the only people I could think of, man. And specifically, Paul White said, "You probably don't know who it is, or don't. It's going to be somebody you don't expect." So it could be John Cena, maybe not Brock Lesnar, because everybody knows that he's not signed anywhere. So everybody would be expecting that. Could be Kurt Angle. Who knows? Other than that, who knows, man? I got absolutely no idea who it could be, but I'm really excited. We'll see how it goes. And then we take a look at, they cover the Eliminator tournament results. We see Mizunami beat Aja Kong and Yuka Sakazaki, while Nyla beat, I think it was Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. They didn't talk about Nyla Rose's victories for some reason. Weren't they not even on Dynamite? Maybe the Britt Baker match was, but the Thunder Rosa one wasn't, and they didn't, I don't think they mentioned that. But yeah, so we got Nyla Rose versus Ryo Mizunami. Vicky Guerrero was in Nyla Rose's corner for this match. The match was alright, honestly. It was probably the bottom of the three Mizunami matches I watched. I watched all of the tournament matches. I watched all the Japanese women matches, which were fantastic. There's, on the last show they did a 6-woman tag with, like, the eliminated contestants and probably a few other people who weren't on the previous shows, or were they all? And Hikaru Shida was in the match too. It was a great 6-woman tag match. Or actually, to be fair, it was a 6-person tag match since Vinny doesn't identify as any gender as far as I'm concerned. She was in the match, so you gotta be considerate about that. But yeah, so this was Ryo Mizunami's Dynamite debut. This is our first time seeing her on TV. And she's a very animated character. You know, if you know anything about normal like Joshi wrestling, it's very animated and over the top. It's stuff that us in the North American market are probably not so used to. But you know, whatever. I really like her style. I always like to say she reminds me of a mix between Okada and Ultimate Warrior. Like literally, if you could even imagine that. She's kind of like that, but she's not quite at that level of skill yet. But she's great. I think she's a really fun character. The beginning of the match, she has this one spot that she does in like every match, where in the corner she does like chops, but then she just keeps chopping, and then she does like all these like dance moves, and then does another chop, and so she did all that stuff. Uh, Later on, Nyla got like a weird sidewalk slam kind of spot for a 2 count. Nyla went up top and attempted a swanton. No one home. Mizunami's able to get out of the way. Ryo knocks Nyla off the apron, lands a diving leg drop onto her. Nyla gets back in the ring at 9. Mizunami lands another diving leg drop for a near fall. Nyla got a big clothesline, lands a Death Valley driver for a near fall. Nyla hangs Mizunami on the rope, on the top rope, and lands a diving knee for a near fall. There's lots of near falls in this match, and Vicky's flipping her lid. Oops. Do you remember like all those months ago, and Vicky like slapped around Nyla after she lost a match? Could only imagine how mad she was tonight. Mizunami comes back with an exploder, heads up top. Nyla meets her up there, lands a superplex for another near fall. Mizunami gives a German suplex to Nila Rose, followed by a spear. They caught it though this time. Heads up for another leg drop and lands it for the win. So look at that. We're going to get a pretty entertaining match this Sunday. Ryo Mizunami versus Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's World title. I'll say though, like, as much as I like Ryo Mizunami, I think that they probably could have made a more exciting match with one of the other Japanese women, or even if it was Thunder Rosa, or if it was Britt Baker even, could have got a shot. So I'm not sure if Ryo Mizunami is my first choice, but, all the power to her, man. Congratulations. Like, just out of nowhere, I never even heard of this person, and she shows up on the women's side of the bracket, and she dominates, and now she made a debut on Dynamite and won, and now she's gonna head to a pay-per-view. It's like, holy jeez, man, that's a lot. So whether she wins this Sunday or not, she's definitely not left AEW empty-handed, because they presented to her a trophy for winning the tournament. In fact, it was Hikaru Shida specifically who handed her the trophy and offered to shake hands. Mizunami shakes hands, but then, or I don't know if she actually did shake, but she landed a stiff elbow. Shida hardly sold it. Like, when you see no-sells all the time, they punch into no-sell, and it's never, you always know that it didn't even hurt anyway. This one looked like, kind of caught Shida off guard, but she still did her best to no-sell. And then they exchanged elbows until Shida knocked down Mizunami, and so she stood tall. Again, we're going to see that match on Sunday. We'll see how I am sure it will be good. Like, I have no doubts about that. Will it be the best match we could have got out of this tournament? No, but it'll be good. Tony Schiavone, guess who he's interviewing? Again, Sting. Like we never saw that before. This comes off the powerbomb spot from Brian Cage 2 weeks ago, and then last week Sting kind of got some revenge. He kind of went wild on the guys, got some stinger splashes. We got to see the Scorpion Death Drop for the first time since 2016, 15. So Sting said he didn't really know if he was ready for this upcoming match until Brian Cage gave him that powerbomb, and he was like, that charged me right back up, and I am ready for a street fight. And so that was all he had to say. So Starks came out and was just talking shit. Or actually, he wasn't really at the beginning. He was more putting Sting over. He's like, oh, I saw what I wasn't expecting from you last week. I saw some fire from Sting. And then he goes on a bit more, says that, I'll admit that you still got it, Sting. And then he's like, you're no icon. And then he slaps Sting in the face. Sting knocks him down, throws him around the ring, lands clotheslines, lands a stinger splash. Locks in a Scorpion Deathlock, which of course again we haven't seen in a very long time. Ricky's like dying. Powerhouse Hobbs and Hook attempt to save. Brian Cage comes back out for another powerbomb, but Darby shows up to choke him out. Sting lands a stinger splash. Darby lands a shotgun dropkick. And yeah, there you go. So the build up for this match, like, I'll give them credit for at least doing stuff, like, But the fact that it was every single week, and we really are kind of just seeing the same stuff over and over again, like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it could have been maybe better in a lot of ways. I agree with anybody who says that Sting is being overexposed. He was literally on every show since he debuted, and we didn't necessarily need that. I think to even keep a lot of his mystique, that's automatically gone from having him on every single show. Um, so yeah, this was kind of just a lot of the same stuff. It didn't really feel like a go home angle. Um, it was just Ricky Starks just talking crap, and then whatever, they all just beat each other up. But I'm looking forward to the match, and I also think that it'll be good. Some other people might think that Sting is gonna blow it, because he's an older dude or whatever. But he's looked great in all of these spots that he's been fighting in, and yeah, I think it'll be a cool street fight. I'm looking forward to this Sunday, which we will be back for. We will be live right after Revolution. So Dark Order's 10 versus Max Caster. This is a contender match for the Face of the Revolution ladder match, currently involving Pentagon Jr., Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky as well. I hope that's everybody. There might have been somebody else I'm missing there. But yeah, so this is a contenders match. Scorpio Sky is at the announce desk. He's a participant in the match again. Max Caster comes out, of course, does his promo entrance, his rap entrance, says, he was like, I'm going to chew 10 up like Lady Gaga's dog walker, which I don't know what he's referring to, if that's a pop cultural reference I'm not in on or whatever. And then he said, I'm going to get this place turned up. So those are the only things I caught. Oh no, actually, he also told -1, who was with 10, that he's about to catch a butt whipping. And then -1, runs for the attack, but 10 stops him. He keeps him back, holds him back. So during the match, 10 gets a crossbody for a 2 count. 10 got a slingshot spear for a near fall. Max Caster was able to land a brainbuster, heads up to the top for claim to fame, which is like a Shawn Michaels-esque elbow drop. In fact, not even esque, it's just exactly that. The classic Shawn Michaels elbow drop. No one home, though. 10's able to get out of the way. 10 lands a powerbomb from the corner. That's a rope break. Jack Evans knocks out 10 with a boombox. Caster gets the win and is added to the Face of the Revolution ladder match for Sunday. Matt Hardy hands Jack Evans $4,200 after the match for taking out 10. And then we get to find out pretty much the entire card for this Sunday's show. The pre-show is going to have Thunder Rosa, Riho in a tag team match against Baker and Reba or Rebel or whatever the hell her name is. And the last time we saw Rebel wrestle, it wasn't good. So that match I don't have high expectations for, and it belongs on the pre-show. I'm sorry that it has to be a women's match, but it's not going to be a good match, so why the hell have it on the pay-per-view? And then this cuts to Miro, because we're going to get Miro and Kip Sabian versus Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy on Sunday. And Miro basically just says he's going to give the people what they want, which is destruction. Everyone who wants Miro to stop playing games will get their wish. And then he speaks a bunch of Bulgarian and says, game over. So that's the hype for that match. We'll also have, again, Penta... Archer, I think I forgot to mention. Did I? I don't know. Penta, Archer, Rhodes, Sky, and Caster will all be in the ladder match. Paul White, again, will announce AEW's new major signing. Nila Rose versus Mizunami, Sting, and Darby versus Starks and Cage. There will be a Casino Battle Royal, which, again, I believe is, again, a tag match. Matt Hardy versus Adam Page in the big money match. Bucks and Jericho, Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho and MJF. Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega. And the exploding barbed wire death match, which I'm super, super excited for. And then we got Matt Hardy and Mark Quinn versus John Silver and Adam Page, Hangman Adam Page. In the match, John Silver landed a standing sliced bread on Matt. Hangman and Quinn get in. Page gets a chokeslam spinebuster onto Mark Quinn. Mark kicked Matt off the apron by mistake at one point during the match. Page landed a Death Valley driver onto Mark Quinn. And then at one point, Adam Page and Matt Hardy are about to start fighting, but Matt Hardy just cowers away. And in fact, he even throws Mark Quinn in the ring to take the punishment instead. Uh, when Mark Quinn actually gets the advantage though and knocks down Page, Matt Hardy just like tags himself in, so he gets out when he's in trouble. Once he's not, he gets back in. Attempts a twist of fate, but Adam Page is able to reverse to a back suplex. Silver lands a spear on Matt Hardy, runs wild, and lands a brainbuster. Mark Quinn lands a shotgun dropkick. Adam lands a pop-up powerbomb on Quinn. Silver lands a German suplex. Adam lands his buckshot lariat for the win. And this was somewhat a lame way to finish the show, I'll be honest. Matt goes for like a post-match attack, which was fine. Bashing Adam like in the head with a mic and all this stuff, and says that Adam Page won't make it to the big money match. And then Dark Order all come out to start killing Matt Hardy, and then all the Battle Royal participants come out to brawl. So there's like 25 guys in the ring. Ray Phoenix and Pac's music come out because they're also in the match, and they participate in this giant brawl. And that was it. That was the end of the show. So, like I said, like, kind of lame. Like, you're going to use the Tag Team Battle Royale, like, angle as your go-home angle for the pay-per-view. I guess that's fine. I was thinking, because for a second, to be honest with you, I thought that 10 versus Max Caster was going to be the main event, because it was like 9:30 already when they got in the ring, but I was like, well, it's not going to be a half hour long. So I was thinking they're going to do that match, and then maybe they're going to do like Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley like promo for 10 minutes at the end of the show or something to finish the show. But no, they did it with this like Battle Royal crap, which I guess it's fine. Sometimes it's said that the least viewers actually stay for the main event, to be honest. The majority of viewers are usually in the first hour of the show, so they definitely got a lot of the most important stuff out of the way at the first hour of the show. So in terms of that, I guess it's not a terrible idea, but it definitely, just as an episode of Dynamite ending, it was like, especially just knowing there's a pay-per-view coming up right after, it was like, all right, that was kind of a somewhat lame way to end the show, but hey, I'm still super excited for the pay-per-view. Again, we're going to be back this Sunday right at the end of the show, so who knows when that will be. But I'll be here to cover it for you guys, and I thank you as always for checking out the podcast. We will be back, and until then, take care.